Being 50 is the most amazing time of my life. And I've done this video to be able to encourage somebody who's at the crossroads, who is thinking of starting over again, and who's self-doubting, who just feels like if they don't change now, there's not enough time for them to be able to do it. But they might be stuck in a situation, in a job or in a relationship that's not working for them, and they just don't have the confidence to make the decision. But 50 is really the crossroads of life. And if we don't start showing up for ourselves at this time, then when? When you get to the 50s, you'll possess a lot of life experience. You'll have a lot of wisdom. And primarily, if you've done this journey in a foreign country where you are having, you have to grow up so fast, you face so many trials and tribulations and challenges that can really make you stronger. And at the same time, that can weigh around you. And I thank God that I had him to fall back to or to pray during moments, of despair. And for me, now that I'm in my 50s, I feel like it's time to show up for myself. I feel so comfortable in my own skin. And this has been a build-up. It's not something that I just woke up being, because for some, you may be very lucky that you might be confident naturally, but I wasn't, although I did come across as being confident in certain situations. But at times in this country, you're forced to put on a mask, this mask that you show up so that you can be that person depending on where you are, whether it's a job interview, whether it's a work setting. You've got to put on this mask so that you can feel like you're being accepted, whether it's in a workplace or whatever situation you find yourself in. And that can be tiresome. And I found myself when I was approaching my 50s, really my 50s, asking myself, who am I? And I feel like that person that I was when I was a child, I no longer recognize that person when I was getting to that age. I felt so broken. I felt like I wasn't even me anymore. And I needed to make decisions for myself. There's something about getting to the age of 50 that you feel like time is running out. We go through our 30s and 40s and oblivious of time, but 50, approaching 50, thereabouts, gets you to really think about what's really important. And that's when I realized that, I need to stop living for people. And I feel that I had to make that tough decision when I was in my late 40s. I was in a job that wasn't serving me well. I was in a job that just made me unhappy. And I felt like there was more to me. And yes, there were fears that how can I make the decision when I'm approaching 50 to be able to move around? Who's going to employ me? But you know what? I thank God that I was able to create that employment. I was able to create that opportunity for me to be able to do that, something that really aligned with my soul, something that I had wanted to do for so long. But it didn't just happen that overnight. I had to really do a lot of work within. I had to talk to myself a lot. I had to really start to take off that mask that I had gone around life wearing for such a long time. Life happens when you come into this country as a foreigner. We come from cultural differences that actually, promote or glorify somebody belittling themselves. You have to reduce yourself to be told that, oh, she's such a good girl, she's a well-behaved girl, she doesn't speak much. You have to fold yourself, or you have to disappear in certain cultures and walk with your head bowed down for people to be able to say, oh, she's a good person. That's just really an unfortunate thing about life, that we have to go through life like that. When children are born, we teach them to speak, we teach them to walk, we teach them all sorts of skills only to be able to tell them, sit down, and don't say anything, shut up. No, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. And you cannot just be yourself. Being yourself can be perceived in other cultures as too much. So we went through life. We grew up in cultures where we had to minimize ourselves. And then you come into this country where it expects you to raise your head up, and you don't even have it in you to be able to do that. Then you turn up for your interviews for jobs, you're misunderstood. You have to work 10 times harder to be able to get, to the next level of your career, because just being you is not enough when you come here. Just going around with your head bowed down is not enough. Some people see you as you lack a lot of confidence. how hard life can be for somebody as a foreigner in this country. And that's what I had to go through in the last 35 years. And when I was getting to my 50s, I felt like the patience was running out. I had no patience for all this anymore. And I felt like I needed to show up for myself. I really needed to be my true, authentic self. Otherwise, where was I going? Otherwise, I just actually looked in the mirror. There were days I looked in the mirror. I didn't even know this person, the person you're talking to now, the person who's on YouTube. I didn't have the zeal. I didn't have the energy. I did a lot of work on myself to be able to come here and share what I'm sharing with you. And you'll see somebody else actually looking at me and feeling like, what am I doing? Or feeling a little bit jealous. I put in the work, and so can you. Rather than looking at somebody else and feeling like, oh, what are they doing? Just go and try. It's so liberating and it's so fulfilling, but it started somewhere. It started by taking some practical steps of removing myself from environment that was draining my spirit, draining my soul. So I couldn't even function. If I been in that job, I wouldn't be here doing YouTube. I wouldn't have plucked up the confidence or the time, the quietness to find myself. But I feel like that was the first step towards this journey where I am now. And now the way that I really feel is that I am a bit confident, a bit more confident, and my confidence is growing by the day. And, for me, I don't need validation anymore as I need it as much before. For me, this time, I am so comfortable in my own skin. I have been hurt and still standing. I have fallen and picked myself up. I have been through all sorts of things that you can think about. And that didn't break me. And there was nothing else to lose. And I decided I had to show up for me. And now I just feel that when you get to that place, you don't need validation at this point. If you are like me, you will now have a discerning spirit because life has taught you a lot of lessons and you can figure people out. You can see through people and you are able to walk away from situation. And this is the time that I realized living to please people will deny you of your own existence to the point that you might not even be able to recognize yourself. But I'm so glad that, my 50s have served me well. I had to change before it was too late. And that is the time when I started my business. I stopped seeking validation. I stopped oversharing. I just tucked my head down and I started to work towards my goals. And I had to do it in spite of whatever it is that was at stake. And that's one thing that you will notice, that when you get to this point where you're able to just flourish, that journey may require you to lose some people, and some people may fall off from your life, and some people may think that you are too much, and some people won't like it. But hey, you're in your 50s, or you're in your late 40s, or you're in your 60s. You've edited yourself far too long. You've been able to please everybody. And some people, you will never please them, And for some of you, you've gone through life with fabricated personalities, just adapted to be able to please other people. This is the time to find you, to show up for you, because your 60s and 70s will thank you, and 80s and 90s, because that is the time to start enjoying life. But this is the time when you've got the energy, when you've got the brain cells to be able to tackle something new. And when you remove yourself from a toxic environment, you will definitely flourish. You will definitely be able to achieve more. And that is the moment of transformation. And you close your mouth, you start working in silence. That's what I believe helped me. And it's time to introspect, and you will be surprised when you walk alone, when you have that time to introspect and think about your goals, how much you can align your visions with your heartbeat. And when you don't seek validation, you know how silly it sounds when you go and ask somebody, should I take that job? Should I do this? That person is actually busy worrying about the noises in their own heads, and they have got no time to be able to tell you the correct decision. What a liberating place to be able to make those decisions. So I'm challenging you today that continue to work on yourself, make that decision. You can do it. If you put your mind to anything, there's nothing impossible in this life. That's one thing that I've learned. If you remove yourself from the noise, you will be able to really flourish. And remember, those people that have weighed you down, those narcissistic people that are around us, that surround us, they lack a lot of self-love. They loathe themselves. This is why they feel that they have to always put other people down, and sometimes they have to recruit others to be able to put you down. But don't let them affect you, because as you grow, as you flourish, you are building unshakable foundations that are going to take you to your next level. And it's so liberating to leave you. What a beautiful place to be, because I feel so liberating that I'm showing up for me. Look at me, I'm here, I'm talking to you, I'm encouraging other people. I wanted to do this for so long, but at the time I was wearing this cap, and now that the cap has been taken, the world is my oyster. There's so much I had, and I believe that God is taking me to places that I could not even imagine, because you have to start somewhere. You have to start removing yourself. It's not too late, because you only have one life, and live it as though it matters. And I'm urging you to try and take that step, take those risks which I've taken. They will pay off, and you will have the energy and the strength to be able to do it when you are in the right frame of mind. So let me know where you are on your journey. Where are you at? Are you at the crossroads, and have you got it all figured out? Are you happy where you are? And if you're not, what's stopping you? Share in the comment section so that we can really communicate and interact and encourage each other, because this is the best shot we have. Like I said in my previous video, this is now the time or never, because if you don't change now, when are you going to do it? When are you going to have the energy to start something new? So I'm encouraging you and rooting you. You can do it. I did it. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you've tuned in till this time, I really appreciate you. Please feel free to share this video with your friends and family, or like and share. I really appreciate you. Or leave a comment and let me know where you're at in your journey. Thank you so much. It's Shelly here. Till next time, thank you so much.